Grandpa was born on George Washington's birthday. To celebrate, I'm making Martha Washington candy. This is a very old recipe going back to the 1800s. There used to be a chain of candy stores called Martha Washington Candies. They sold ice cream and all kinds of different candies. In the 1920s, they had hundreds of stores across the country, but then the Great Depression hit and hurt their business. The founder died in 1932 and most of the stores closed shortly after. Only a few remained in the 1940s and then they soon closed too. To make this recipe, I am using a half cup butter softened, a half cup of sweetened condensed milk, 1 cup powdered sugar, 1 cup chopped pecans, 2 cups unsweetened flaked coconut, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 3/4 cup maraschino cherries, 3/4 cup semi-sweet chocolate chips, and 1 tablespoon coconut oil. The first thing we have to do is chop the pecans. I'm using my favorite little chopper. Okay, that looks very good. These are chopped. The cherries now have to be chopped, so I'm adding them to my little chopper. Okay, the cherries, as you can see, are chopped. I'm putting them in the bowl with a paper towel so the paper towel will absorb any moisture. You want to make sure you take out as much moisture as you can from the cherries. I'm adding my butter in the bowl with my milk, the sweetened condensed milk, the powdered sugar, the pecans, the coconut, and the vanilla. Now this has to be mixed well. This will take a little time, but you mix this all up well. It's mixing good now, as you could see. It's getting there. Everything's getting good. It's mixing nicely together. And, oh, you could really smell the coconut. It smells delicious. If you like coconut, smells so good. Grandpa's really going to like this because it has an ingredient of his favorite candy in it. Can you guess what the candy is? I bet you can. Everything is blended in, the butter, the pecans, the coconut. It really looks good now. And now the next step is to add the maraschino cherries. Now I'm going to add the cherries that I had on the paper towel to try to get more moisture out of the cherries. Looks very colorful now. So now I have to just blend this in, and then this will be done. Did you guess Grandpa's favorite candy? Well, it's a Mounds bar. So you just, as you could see, all the coconut in here and the pecans and everything. Grandpa will like it. It's been all mixed well, and you could see how nice it looks with the red maraschino cherries. I'm going to use my cookie scoop and put it on the cookie sheet now. We don't bake these, we just put them in the refrigerator for 6 to 8 hours. This is a no-bake recipe to make these candies. The last one, oh, look how nice this looks. Now this is all done, this one cookie sheet, and it's ready to be put in the refrigerator. Almost finished putting the candy on the cookie sheet. And now make sure that you use parchment paper on your cookie sheet if you make these candies. So now this is ready to go in the refrigerator. This recipe made 34 candies. The candy has been refrigerated overnight, and now I have to roll each one into a ball, a smooth ball. So you make them into a nice smooth ball. This is an easy recipe. It just takes time to put it all together, because you have to refrigerate, do a few refrigerating steps. When you're rolling the candy into a small ball, all you have to do is place it back on the parchment paper, because when we're done doing this step, they'll have to be refrigerated for an hour. It's all done now. They're all done. And as you could see, some are smaller, some are larger. It doesn't matter. It's just how much you scoop out in the beginning determines how big or small they're going to be. And of course, I'm going to tell you right now, Grandpa's going to like to try the bigger ones. I'm using my double boiler to melt the chocolate to cover the candy. As you can see, it has 2 pots. One on the bottom to heat the water, but you have to heat it like to a very low simmer. You can't let it boil. And then the top is where you add your chocolate. So now I'll be adding my coconut oil and my semi-sweet chocolate chips. Now we have to wait till the chocolate chips melt so we could cover the candy. You could see the chocolate is starting to melt in the pot. So we want this all melted down nice. Nice and smooth. You could see how nice the chocolate is melting in the pot. The chocolate is all melted and ready to be put on the candy. Now I'm putting my candy in the chocolate, and I have 2 forks to turn it all around on all sides, and then you lift it up and let the chocolate drip a little. And then you put it back on the parchment paper. Takes a little time to do this, but they should be delicious when the chocolate's all hard. It works out very well with the 2 forks. Covering the candies with chocolate remind me of my favorite show growing up, and that was I Love Lucy. My favorite episode was the Chocolate Factory, when Ethel and Lucy got a job working in the chocolate factory, and they had to cover each candy with a paper wrapper, and it came down a conveyor belt. It was so funny because they were doing very well when the conveyor belt was going slow. And when the supervisor came in and saw they were doing so good, she said to speed it up. And what happens is the candy started to rapidly come down the conveyor belt, and Lucy and Ethel were having a really hard time. So after a while, they were putting the candy under their hat. They were putting it in their dress. It was just, it's so hysterical. Every time I think of it, I could just burst out laughing. And if anybody wants to have a good laugh, you have to watch the I Love Lucy Chocolate Factory episode. And this is what it reminds me of. Now we only have a few more left to do. So we're coming near the end, but as you could see, it's very easy to cover these. It just takes time to hopefully get a lot of the excess chocolate off of the candy balls. Or try to get as much as you can. The candy has been all chocolate coated, and now I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for about a half an hour to let the chocolate harden. I just took the candy out of the refrigerator after a half an hour, and you could see how nice they came. They hardened very, very nice. And now I'm going to be placing them in my little cups that I have. I have these little cups that's perfect for candy. And I'm going to put them in my little container here, because you have to store these in an airtight container. They look really, really good. These are in the airtight container, ready to be enjoyed. Happy birthday, Grandpa. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandpa. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Ma.
Make a wish, blow out your candle, and then you could have the special treats I made for you. Hope you made a good wish.
I did, Ma.
How's it taste, Grandpa?
Let you know in a minute. Delicious. That coconut really tastes good. The maraschino cherries and the chocolate.
Does it taste similar to your favorite candy?
Yes, it does. My mom's, boy.
Enjoy your treats, Grandpa.
Thank you, Ma.
And many more happy birthdays.